All right, guys, and welcome back to the Evolution Podcast. This is part 2 to episode 1. We're just going to be diving into the coaches a little bit here. So I'm Cody. This is Alexa. And we are your Endless Evolution fitness coaches. So we're just going to kind of give a little background about us and kind of how we got started and things like that. So we're both competitive bodybuilders. We both do the bodybuilding thing. It's definitely enjoyable having a significant other that's into it as well. It makes it a lot easier. So
peaks and valleys, roller coaster, but we do it well.
Yeah. So I actually started out in men's physique in 2014. That was my first show, and I've kind of went through the classes as I've gotten older. So I did classic in my return to the stage in 2019 after my time in the military. So and then from there I kind of grew a little bit too much. I got to the point where classic wasn't really fitting me anymore, so I leveled up to bodybuilding. So I've actually done all 3 classes. Not a lot of people know that, so I think that's hilarious. I think it's pretty funny to look back at some of my younger photos when I was a kid. So it's pretty cool though to kind of see the journey and just kind of see it all come together. So it's definitely been a wild ride. So just wanted to kind of, touch on that and kind of how I got into it. So, after baseball ended for me, I had to kind of find something to just continue to be an athlete. 'Cause that's all I've ever been. So it was a big mental struggle for me, kind of hanging up baseball and not being an athlete anymore. I didn't really know, how life would continue after that, just because I was so used to always having a goal and just being active and, being around a bunch of dudes and, the camaraderie and everything, just being a part of a team. So I always enjoyed lifting weights. That was always my thing back in high school. Anybody will tell you. Towards the end of high school, I kind of started to get into bodybuilding, and then I really got into it with a guy named Vito, and give him a shout out. One of my best friends from my childhood, and then a guy named Caleb that lived with us in our hometown too. We both just got into, bodybuilding. They kind of just brought it to the table for me, and I was already, lifting weights and I was bodybuilding, but it wasn't like for a show, and Vito had just got done with his first show and, we kind of started talking about it and it just kind of interested me. So that's kind of how the idea came to me. And then I actually started working with my first coach back in the day, Courtney English. I'm sure a lot of people know him. He's a men's physique coach around here. So he was one of the only bodybuilders in Spring Hill, so he actually helped me prep for my first show, and that's how I got into it as a young buck. So that was forever ago. Seems like a century ago. It's crazy. So, but that's just how I kind of got into it, kind of transitioning from baseball. I think it's really good if you're an athlete and you're looking for something to do after. And then it's just kind of evolved into what it is now. I got out and I got a job as a personal trainer, and I just kind of fell in love with that. So I wanted to pursue personal training as a job. I started off doing it part-time, and then I was just like, I want to do this forever. So it just kind of evolved into that for me, and now it's obviously I'm trying to make my way to the professional league one day, which would be amazing. So I know I got a long way to go, but it's cool to just enjoy that journey. So and that's kind of my story as far as getting into it up until now. And I actually met Alexa along the way, and we prepped for our first show together in 2019, which I thought was awesome. It was really cool, especially doing it with her when I got out of the military, because it was my first show back, and I was really nervous. So she had been doing them back to back, so she was still kind of fresh in the game, so she definitely helped me along that, and just us supporting each other along the way was really cool. So I thought it was just really cool to be able to do that with her and do a show together. So we did 2 shows together, 2019, 2020, and then I took 2021 off to grow, and then 2022 we did separate shows, just because we got the house now, we got 2 dogs, we got a business, so it's kind of hard for us to both be in prep at the same time and have that prep brain and that prep fatigue. So we've kind of found, doing it, separate kind of helps, because we can support each other a little better. I'll give you an example. She cooks my dinner every time that I come home, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
I call her and I'm like, hey, I'm on my way home. I just got done with my clients. So I usually don't get home till like 8:30. So, and I'm gone at 6 in the morning. So it's awesome to have her like helping me with that kind of stuff.
Well,
And
it helps to have somebody there
Yeah.
to pick up the slack. You
Absolutely.
know? I mean, like, if you've ever prepped for a show, then you know, you just get to a point where, like, those monotonous tasks of, like, doing the dishes, cleaning the house, like, you know, all that stuff kind of starts to take a back seat because you got to delegate where you put your energies into.
yeah, it's a
And
lot,
there's
especially having a
not much
house.
to give. Yeah, having a house is no joke.
Yeah.
So we started out in
Yeah.
a tiny little 1-bedroom apartment, and now we're in
Yeah.
what is this?
It's 3-bed, or it's 3 beds, 3 baths,
baths.
but our whole upstairs is like 2 rec rooms, so it could be considered like 2 extra bedrooms.
A lot of stuff to take care of here.
There's a lot of space for sure. So,
Yeah.
but we enjoy it here. We definitely love our house now that we sunk a whole bunch of money into it to get it livable, which that's a whole nother story. But I do think, us doing it together just makes it awesome. It's really cool, especially just us, getting to work with clients together, because like we get to help each other out on some things. And just having, 2 heads is better than 1 sometimes. So I do appreciate her, just having her with business as well. So I feel like we work well together because I'm very structured and organized, and then she's very creative. So she's able to, touch on things that I'm not able to, and then I'm able to help in areas that, she's not able to. So I definitely think we have a really good partnership as far as that goes for business. And we both just really want to help people, man, so like we enjoy what we do. We really enjoy working with our clients. We get a thrill out of it, and it's more of a, that fulfilling thrill than it is anything else. So I think we both have the same mentality whenever that goes. We want to provide the best level of service for people. It's not necessarily about anything else like clout or money or anything like that. We just really enjoy helping our people. So we both bust ass to do that. I feel like we both put in a lot of hours and a lot of work. But in the end of the day, we just love it. So. But anyways, babe, you tell your story how you got into it.
How I got into it? Okay, let's see. I mean, we have a similar background as far as like playing sports through high school, and then you played baseball collegiately. I played soccer collegiately, and then we both were like, we're not going to the pro leagues with this, so what's going to be the next thing? I think like I can relate to you a lot in that. So for me, I got done in high school. I played soccer and football my junior and senior year, and went on to play soccer at Martin Methodist, which is now under a different name. Another college bought it out, I believe. But I went there, I played soccer, and during my time there, when I wasn't in season for soccer, I was still competing for shows. I did my very first show my senior year of high school, and then I did my next season of shows my freshman year of college, where I did 3 shows that season, if you will. So yeah, I came to a point where I had to make a choice. I was like, all right, we're not going anywhere with soccer. Is bodybuilding the thing that we want to continue on with? Because I'm somebody like you, where I gotta have that goal, that carrot in front of you. And bodybuilding was a way to still be the competitive athlete that I've always been at heart. So I kept up with that. I ended up in 2017. I took about a year and a half off. Not intentionally. I kind of at that point was burnt out on it. Thought I was going to be done with it, but I wasn't. Cut to early 2019. I did another show in October, and then I think one more in November. Yes, and then we met later that year. What, in December?
January, I think it's our
that first week of January. So New Year, new us. Because when we met, it was just kind of like we came together instantly. Cody and I are both from Spring Hill. I don't know if you guys caught that earlier.
We actually went to high school together.
We did.
And a lot of people don't know that, and they think we were high school sweethearts, but we weren't.
We weren't. We were both with different people.
Yeah. I was 2 years older than her, so we really didn't even know each other. Like I knew of her.
We knew of each other,
she knew
but
of me, but we never met because we never really came across each other. And I think it's funny because I have like a lot of friends that she has, and she didn't know that. So on our first date, she was like, "Oh, you don't know this person?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." I was like, "I bet I've known that person longer than you."
Well, it was almost like when we met, like we had a lot of connecting the dots.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was almost like we had met before. Like,
Yeah,
we knew
it was,
each other,
it was
we
cool.
knew.
It was,
Yeah.
you know, how this is gonna sound really cheesy, but they know, or they, you know, how they say like whenever you meet the one, like that's just like how it was. And
Did you have bells go off
we,
in your head?
Yeah, and we just, you know, like we just fit together.
We did,
Like
we
it was
did.
just like perfect.
We came
you know?
together
It
really
was,
well.
it was cool. You know, it was just one of those things where I was like, man, I like this girl. You know, I like this girl a lot. And, you know, I feel like most people, and, you know, I've told you this before, like, you know, I feel like most girls, especially around that time, were just like playing games and shit. You know, and I just never felt like that with you. I was like, man, like she's actually interested. Like, there was none of that like hot and cold, like I want you one day, I don't want you the next day type shit, you know?
But let's
was
be clear,
very,
Cody did have to work for it a little bit. So.
Oh, yeah, right. Go ahead and tell him whenever you knew I was the one. Tell him.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a good one.
Yeah.
So, ladies, if you're listening, this is the definition of if a man wants to, he will. So, Cody and I were still in our like talking phase. We had been hanging out for a little bit. At the time of us getting together, I was in prep for a show. He's wanting to hang out, and I'm like, well, I've got my food that I've got to cook, so can you cook it for me? Like, I need like chicken and vegetables, so can you cook that for me and I'll come over? And he's like, yeah, no problem. This man went in the rain and cooked chicken and vegetables for me to have when I came over.
To be fair, it wasn't raining when I started, but I did look outside and I was like, oh fuck, it's about to rain. So I like rushed down to like our apartment like grilling area, and you know, I threw chicken on the grill and I started getting it going. And then sure enough, as soon as I got it all set up and turned on the grill and it started cooking, it started raining on me. And
But
I got
you didn't
absolutely
care.
soaked. No,
You
I
didn't
didn't.
care.
I
You
didn't.
didn't
I was like, you know what? Like, you know, this is gonna make it easy on her, and you know, I'll have it all prepped for her. And I think I actually cooked you a couple days worth of food, right?
You did, yeah.
Yeah, because I had like a
meal
big thing
prepped
of
for me,
chicken
yeah.
and whatnot. And it got to the point where like, you know, she was wanting to come over and I was wanting her to come over. So I was just like buying groceries for her. I was like, I'll just, you know, keep like whatever you need like at my apartment, and then you could come over and like, you know, obviously help yourself to my kitchen, like, you know, make whatever you want. And, like,
And yeah, and you would make
if
me
you need
breakfast
yeah.
sometimes.
And
I
sometimes,
return the favor,
you'd come
of
over
course,
late, like after work.
yeah.
I would just make sure everything was cooked for you, like when you came over and stuff, because I knew you'd be getting in late.
Yeah.
So, and then I remember cooking you breakfast and stuff in the apartment too.
I loved it. It was so sweet.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was
our
really,
little life.
it was cool just like coming together and it just like meshing really well, you know.
Well, it did. I mean, it was one of those things where, like, you got me just as much as I got you. We both recognized that, like, the gym is something that we take seriously. Mind you, our first date was at the gym, people.
Yeah.
Like,
That's so funny. I tell people that, they just look at me weird, and I'm like, nah. I mean, like, you know, I was like, yo, why don't you come down here and check out my gym, and then.
Oh, no.
workout.
You were like, I bet I could put you through a workout, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
I'm like, no.
Well, yeah, don't tell him you were sore for like 3 days.
I mean, I didn't tell him that till, you know, years later, but I was definitely tore up.
That's funny.
Cody saw it as a bright opportunity to give me an assist on the pull-ups that
Yeah, we were doing pull-ups, and she was like, I can't do a pull-up.
An
I need a
unassisted
band."
pull-up,
Yeah.
like, these guys are repping them out, and I'm like,
we were
I
doing
can't
like
do that.
regular pull-ups. And I was like, oh, don't worry, I got you. So I just like put my hand right under her butt and just started helping her up. And I was just like, that's how it's done. That was a pimp move right there.
First date, in my head, I'm like, if he moves his hand any type of way, I'm going to slap him. I
That's
didn't.
funny.
You behaved.
Yeah, we actually got a video of it.
We
too.
do.
There was a guy I was
We
working
should
out
post
with at
that.
the time.
We should add it.
Where I was like helping you out. Yeah, I would just like clip it in. That'd be pretty funny.
That was crazy. It's crazy to look back on too. I mean, we've done a lot of we've had a lot of
We've really
ups
grown
and
up
downs
together.
with this.
You know, like we really grew up together. It was just crazy. Like, you know, just like looking at like where you were whenever I first met you versus like what we're doing together now. And obviously our responsibilities have definitely elevated too, but
different.
it is
And we
cool
have
to
two dogs
look
to
back and see all
take care
that.
of.
So, and I think a lot of people don't really know like, you know, all that. So I thought it'd be cool to like, you know, tell everybody and, you know, get our story out there of like how we met, how we came up, and
I mean,
everything too. Just kind of also give people motivation, man. Cause like, Now, I feel like a lot of people see, certain individuals and think that they just kind of walked into that. And it's like, no, like, really, I mean, we've been on the struggle bus since we got together. We've had a lot of things come up that were really just like big potholes in our road, and we just kind of, pivoted as needed and kind of, kept to it, and we just never gave up. So,
I mean,
we
yeah,
still
that
kind of
goes
hit
for
those all the time, like, I just shelled out $12,000 last month for our freaking gutters on our house. Like,
this house has been insane, people.
And that's just last month. So, it's always something, man, so.
We unintentionally bought a fixer-upper.
Mm-hmm.
And, through everything that we've been through,
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like us coming out on top with this damn house, we can go through anything.
It's been pretty impressive for
we've
sure.
Been together through the pandemic.
Yeah.
That was something that was a wild time, as I know it is for everybody. But something that I thought was a really cool takeaway from that was, again, we were both in prep, and all the gyms are shut down, and we're like, oh shit, what are we going to do? I mean, we ended up going to my grandparents and turned their garage into a makeshift gym because, gym equipment was hard to get a hold of then. People were price gouging, like, all the things.
Yeah, I scored some on Facebook. And
you got, like, a little bench set up.
We still got it in the garage here.
So you got, like, a bench set up. We took bands. I mean, we're, like, looping them and broomsticks together in the trees. Like, and we got videos of that, too. I mean, we made it work, and
where there's a will, there's a way, and we always try to figure that part out.
Well, we always come together and make some shit happen, and like that's kind of been the theme of our life, both as individuals and then as a couple together. Is like we don't like we make some shit happen out of nothing. Like, and when you come from not having stuff, you figure it out real fast. Like.
And that's another thing we just want to show people too, like how powerful it is to have a couple that has like their goals aligned. Because I tell her all the time, like, I wouldn't be able to do all the things that I do without her, because it's just been so motivating, and, like, she's my motivation to get up in the morning, because I'm like, man, I gotta find a way to, like, take us to the next level. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, like, and she sees me, I like, spread myself way too thin, and I do everything for everybody, and, I'm just always...
Well, we both do. Like, we have giver's hearts.
Pedal to the metal, and, I mean, honestly, like, you give me that motivation to, like, try to do and be better, so, I feel like us working together has been, like, just truly, different, like, being able to do this with someone rather than trying to do it on your own, so...
Or try to do it with somebody that doesn't support it,
Yeah, like, and I feel like there's a lot of people that don't support their significant other, and then that's where, it can be hard, because you're, like, trying to pull the weight of two, so...
Yeah. Well, and it helps, too. We have, we kind of have the common dream of, not common, but, like, it's common between the two of us of, like, we want to be successful trainers. We want to be successful bodybuilders. We, like I said, we both have giver's hearts. Like, we want to help other people. We want to change other people's lives. Like, I remember one time in high school, I made this, like, bucket list, and trust me, there was plenty on there that was interesting. But one of the things that I put on this bucket list was that I want to change somebody's life. And I had no idea that I would be changing multiple people's lives. Like...
And that's the thing, it's truly amazing what we do, because we get to help people change their life, so I think what, our job, it's more than a job, it's just, it's totally different because you leave such an impact on that person, so I think, if you do it right and you actually care about your people, like watching them succeed, there's just a thrill to that.
Oh, absolutely. So. I mean, there's nothing better than like seeing one's confidence just start to blossom. Like, I think that's one of the cool things too about training people is like you get them in the very beginning, you kind of talk with them, we listen to, their goals and what it is that's even bringing them into the gym for the first time or, for the first time after years of having not gone, different people have different stories, but seeing them come in and be kind of shy and timid and then like, some months go by of you guys working together and they just blossom into this person. Like
just a different person.
Yeah, they pick their head up a little higher when they walk in. They talk a little louder. They talk a little more passionately. Like they get excited for the gym and they look forward to that. And sometimes like training with us is the one thing that some of our clients have to look forward to out of the day, which is, I mean, that's so impactful. Like, but okay, all right, let's switch gears a little bit. So, give me your what's your most memorable situation with a client? Like, what's one thing that you've done, you've taken a client through, or even just a story that you can think of that really sticks out in your head that you're like, man, like it's that brings me to tears kind of thing, you know?
Honestly, I would, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to put her on spot, and I don't know if she would get upset or not. So I'll just say my female client. I spent a lot of time with her. I know you know who I'm talking about. And she came to me. She was in a really rough spot. She had come from a weight loss trainer, and she had lost a lot of weight, but she had lost a lot of muscle too, because she wasn't really eating the way that she needed to be to really put on muscle and drop body fat. So I just kind of explained to her, whenever you're eating the way that you are and you're exercising the way that you are, you're losing weight, yes, but like that's not necessarily what you want to do. Like the goal is to put on muscle and drop body fat, and I think everyone gets obsessed with the scale and they see that not going down and they think that they're not getting anywhere. When in reality, I can leave a client at the same weight for 12 weeks and then we check their body fat percentage and it's way down and their muscle mass is up, and like that's what we want, and we also want to eat and fuel the body, like I do see a lot of people, that aren't eating nearly enough. And I think she was at a point where, she was interviewing a bunch of different trainers. And I mean, she told me that, she just was like, I don't want you to think that, I'm being any type of way, but I'm just interviewing and trying to see like where I want to go, what I want to do next. And, it caught her attention that, I'm an exercise science grad, I'm a nutrition grad. So she was just very interested in what I do and how I do it. So I was just very open. I'm an open book. Whenever I sit down with a client, I just let them know like, hey, like, this is what I think, like, this is where we are. This is what I think we need to do. And this is what I would like to do. And then I'll just come up with a course of action for us to go on, and that's what we did. And I just told her, I was like, look, like hypothetically, if you were to hire me, this is what I would change. This is what I would do. And this is what we could do to get you there. And, I'm also very transparent. I just let them know like, hey, like this isn't going to happen in 2 to 4 months or anything like that. Like it's going to be a long-term thing. And then, fast forward a while later, I just sent her a side-by-side the other day and like, you can't even recognize this woman. She looks totally different, like just not even nearly close to the woman that I met whenever we sat down and we had that consultation. And that was like what she's saying, like you see the confidence in that person grow, and I've watched it grow in her since day one. I just kind of, plant it and then I kind of water it.
Yeah, it's like a flower. You just keep watering it and eventually it blossoms into this beautiful
thing. And it's cool to watch it,
transpire.
Develop.
Yeah.
And it's just cool because like, and I know how she is because we're very similar personality wise, and she's very skeptical of people because I am too, until I kind of feel people out. I'm very observant, and I think it was awesome to like just have her trust me, and put that faith in me and just let me take the wheel and guide her along the way. And it was just really awesome to see like where we're at now versus where we started,
Yeah.
And at first I was just kind of like, I don't even know if she's going to hire me, because I feel like some people don't like that I'm very open and honest, and other people do. Like, I think some people want to be, lied to, I really do. I think some people want me to be like, hey, I'm going to make you look like this in 3 months, but it's like,
well, but you're realistic with people, like you said.
And again, just like I explained to her, I'm like, well, that's not going to create a long-term client because in 3 months you're not going to look like that and you're going to blame me,
right? Because
I told you it would happen. And it's like I'm not going to tell you that that's going to happen. In 3 months, I think we could make quite a bit of progress if we hit every single variable every day.
See, but there's still variables that you can't necessarily account for. Like you guys are on. We're on this journey just as much as you are. Like we're very much like we grow with the client. And we're not like, it's not as black and white as you may think. Like each client's different, each body is different, each person's needs and things like that. They're all different and. I think that's where it comes to, you know, just being experienced trainers is we're versatile in that aspect.
Yeah.
Like we're able to, you know, go different directions because the path is not straight and narrow. And like, I mean, even for us with being bodybuilders and stuff, and granted that's a much more rigid aspect of this kind of lifestyle than just someone that's just looking to get in the gym and get healthy and lose some weight. But we have our ups and downs just like they do. Yep. And so, you know, that's something that we can kind of help our clients navigate, which we touched on that in our previous video. But I mean, that's just part of it. Like we work with you guys.
And I think it's awesome that and you too, that we've had a wide variety of clients.
So and that's been cool.
Pretty much seen everything, but every now and then something comes up where I'm kind of like, oh, you know, I haven't seen that before.
About the time you think you've seen it all, something new comes around.
And like, you know, to touch on what she said, every client's going to be different. And one of those things is a client's schedule. You know, and I was talking about that with a client yesterday. And he was telling me, you know, some days he has to train at 4 a.m. so he'll train fasted. And I'm like, hey, man, I'd really like it if we get some food in there before. I was like, how about you let me set up another meal plan for you that has like a quick shake with like, you know, and I was like, you can blend it up the night before you go to bed and smash it on the way to the gym. And
just
then
you have something.
And I was like, and then I want you to have your liter of water and your electrolytes that I have, you know, prescribed pre-training. So that way we can get some food in there, we can get some water, we can get some electrolytes, so we can have a good pump.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're also going to get more from your training that way if it's fueled, you know, versus fast. Thanks for tuning in. Evolution Podcast, baby.